Many people do not know this per se, but Bob was a very spiritual person. He didn't have a home church, but he definitely had a home faith. And it was a very personal thing to him. And he was not afraid of talking about it, but he would let other people bring it up. Other than politics, it was the one thing you could really get him riled up about, probably. And that was kind of fun sometimes, just to tweak him a little bit and see where he'd go with it. Because that was a great way to learn, too. Didn't have the same effect as politics, thank goodness, but he would get excited about it and stuff. I have no doubt where Bob resides today, or that I'll get to see him again someday in heaven. None at all. I can't imagine the fun he's having right now with Reggie and Lionel and Jerry and, oh my goodness, Bud, all those guys, Colin, Ken and Vi. And it's appropriate because Bob's going to be buried in the same cemetery as Ken and Vi after living across the street from him for 50 years. Do you think there's going to be some bickering going on there? There it is. And Colin's across the road, and Lionel's there too, and oh, it's going to be a blast. I'd love that, be a fly on that wall for that. Here to talk about faith some more are Tyler and Ashley Moreland from Lamplighters Hockey, an organization that teaches kids about hockey and faith. It is an amazing program that I highly encourage any of you to consider supporting. The way that these two kids work is astonishing. There's no way they should be able to do what they do. If anybody tried to start it today, you'd think, oh, there ain't no way, I'm quitting. They never heard the word quit. They just keep going. And they have had an amazing impact on kids and on hockey. And Bob was so proud of them. And it's really cool that they get to speak and hear some of our speakers today. Here's Ashley.
So a lot of you don't know who me and my husband are, but some of you do. And but if you don't know me, that's okay. But I will tell you that I think I know what it feels like as a player to get called up, because we sure did not expect to be in your presence today, and we are truly honored. There are thousands of people who would love to honor Bob in this way, and so know how speechless and humbled we were to get our call up. Truth is that we didn't know Bob nearly as well as all of you. We grew up listening to him, idolized him, and considered him the legend that he didn't consider himself. It's because of the culture of hockey that he helped shape for the Comets and how the Comets made Fort Wayne a hockey town that allows us to coach street hockey to kids and adults, the opportunity to play the game that Bob so loved, and that we get to share with them how much God loves them. And for that, we will be forever grateful. Because of Bob's legacy, we will continue to raise up a generation of future hockey players, fans, and Christ followers. 4 years ago, he interviewed us for our very first fundraiser for Lamplighters. In our minds, it was one of those God moments that just solidified that this was our calling, gave us validation, gave us hope that our ministry would be accepted into the hockey community. Because we thought, how many people get to be interviewed by Bob Chase? Well, turns out a lot over 60 decades in radio. But it was the way that he made us feel, that we were the most important people in the world, that even though we had barely even started our ministry, that he gave us a chance, an opportunity, because that's who Bob was. He was the epitome of what it means to serve. He put you before himself. And it's exactly what God calls us to do. I love this quote from Bob's retirement from WoWo. I've always said that I'm thankful for my listeners. Had they not turned on the radio and invited me into their home, whether it be as a disc jockey, commentator, sports reporter, or play-by-play man, none of this would have happened. If they turned on WoWo, I came into their homes at their invitation. I've always tried to remember that and maintain humility. What perspective! I'd never thought of it that way. That I was inviting him into my home, into my life. Invitations are always to the best things, right? Weddings, baby showers, birthday parties, graduations. And I know that it'll be hard to know that there will be no more inviting your dad, your grandpa, your husband, your friend, your mentor, to all the important things in your life. I love Danny Goki's song, Tell Your Heart to Beat Again, and perhaps you feel like this first verse. You're shattered like you've never been before. The life you knew in 1,000 pieces on the floor. And words fall short in times like these, when this world drives you to your knees. You think you're never going to get back to the you that used to be. Tell your heart to beat again. Close your eyes and breathe it in. Let the shadows fall away. Step into the light of grace. I know that grief is a journey, a deeply personal journey, and you may not be ready to tell your heart to beat again today, to let the shadows fall away, and to step into the light of grace. And no one will blame you, and you have that right. But while still holding on dearly to your memories, one day you will. You'll wake up, and you'll tell your heart to beat again. And the light of grace will look so welcoming and inviting. Jesus invites us in Matthew chapter 11:28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest." Our burden of loss is heavy today, and it will be for a while. God doesn't promise to take it away or make it easier, but He promises that we aren't alone. We have each other, and we have Him. That He walks with us in the darkest of times and gently guides us back to His light of grace in His own sweet time. He reminds us in the stillness of the night that though we may long for Chaser to be calling play-by-play from the rafters, that His view is just a little higher now. That His box now reads Radio Heavenside. And we can rest in the knowledge that one day we will see Him again and listen to Him say, "Shoot, scores!" one more time. Jesus makes another invitation in the form of a parable. It comes from Luke chapter 14, verses 8 through 11, and it reads, "When you are invited by someone to a feast, do not sit down in the place of honor, since a more distinguished person than you may have been invited by the host. And he who invited both of you will come and say, 'Give this man your place.' And then in disgrace, you proceed to take the last place. But when you are invited, go and sit down at the last place, so that when your host comes, he will say to you, 'Friend, move up higher.' And then you will be honored in the presence of all who are at the table with you. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled before others, and he who habitually humbles himself will be exalted." Didn't Bob just embody that entire passage? His goal was to maintain humility. It's easy to be humble once, but when you make humility a habit, that's a lifestyle. That's a lifestyle that God set and that Bob followed. He was a servant. He took the lowest place at the table by the way he regarded you, by the way he instilled confidence in you, the way that he made connections for you. He invited you into his life, just like we invited him into ours. His actions through his whole life invited others. "Friend, move up higher. You deserve a place more distinguished than I." Now that his time here is done, all he wanted was to be remembered as a good guy. Well, Bob, I think you did it. And I think it's time to tell you, Bob, my friend, move up higher. Move up higher to a place of distinction. Move up higher to a place where you can turn God's ear so to help us understand how putting others first will make this world a better place. Because, friends, Bob's work on earth is done, but ours is not. Bob understood that life is all about choices, which is exactly what a radio knob represents. A choice. A choice to turn it on or off, up or down, to change the channel. Bob knew that we had the choice to invite him into our homes, into our lives. And that he had the choice to live only for himself or to maintain a lifestyle of humility. There's a bowl right over here when you leave today that has some radio knobs in it. Please take one if you so choose to remind you of Bob, to remind you of the choice that he made every day to be humble, that he learned by following Christ's teaching that the first shall be last and that the last shall be first. To remind you that every day you now have the choice to lift others up higher and to maintain humility.